Welcome to Resident Alien. This is a new channel that I've created off the offshoot of Resident Alien 86. We are going to be going over a series of debunking episodes working on debunking popular myths in today's media. Today we're going to dive into the theory that extraterrestrials, that aliens, possibly built the pyramids, specifically the Pyramid of Giza. We will explore the historical, archaeological, and scientific evidence to reveal the truth behind these ancient wonders. The ancient aliens theory was popularized most specifically by Eric von Daniken's 1968 book titled The Chariots of the Gods. This book proposes that extraterrestrial beings visited Earth and assisted in the construction of these monumental structures. Not just these, but other structures worldwide. Today, talking about the Pyramid of Giza. This theory has been widely popularized through books, television shows, online videos, podcasts, live streams, captivating the imagination of many throughout the world. The allure of the ancient aliens theory lies in its mysterious and sensational narrative. However, it's important to critically examine the evidence and distinguish between speculative fiction and historical reality. Let's start with the archaeological evidence. Excavations around the Giza Plateau have revealed extensive details about the lives of the workers who built the pyramids. Discoveries include workers' villages, bakeries, breweries, and medical facilities, indicating a well-organized and sizable workforce. The evidence clearly shows that the pyramids were built by these skilled laborers who were well cared for, usually being paid in food and beer. Huzzah! Inscriptions and graffiti left by these workers themselves express pride in their work and their contribution to the construction of these magnificent structures. Now, let's talk about the engineering techniques used. The Great Pyramid consists of approximately 2.3 million limestone blocks, each weighing between 2.5 and 15 tons. Now, how did the ancient Egyptians manage to be able to move these megalithic, incredibly heavy blocks? How did they manage such a feat without the assistance or guidance of modern machinery or modern engineering? The ancient Egyptians employed simple but effective tools and methods such as copper chisels, wooden sledges, and limestone quarries. They used techniques like wetting sand to reduce friction and constructed ramps to transport the massive stones. There's also speculation on these blocks may have been floated. The use of water on the or around the pyramid itself to be able to transport and float these blocks into place where they were. But recent discoveries suggest that the use of spiral ramps and counterweights to facilitate the construction process. Another point of fascination is the astronomical alignments of the pyramids themselves. Some theorists argue that these alignments are too precise to have been achieved without extraterrestrial assistance. Now, this is under the assumption that our ancestors weren't as smart as we are today. I beg to differ and would even suggest that our ancient ancestors were much more intelligent than we are today because they had more time, less distractions, and more thought to be able to put into the production of each of their individual technologies, of their builds, even deifying some of their people at the time, specifically Imhotep, which is commonly misconstrued as an extraterrestrial himself. Imhotep went from, or took the ancient Egyptians from using mudwork into the use of stonework. So, in this process of them being able to learn to carve this stone, they thought, wow, what a genius, what a genius. This guy must be a god, must be a god himself. The alignment of the pyramids with these celestial bodies showcases the ancient Egyptians' advanced knowledge of astronomy itself. They were keen observers of the night sky and incorporated their understanding into their architectural designs. Going back to, they didn't have the distractions, so at night they were able to observe. Think of how amazing that would be. Have no distractions, just be able to sit up, lay up on top of your roof at night and just watch the stars. It's something I definitely did when I was younger, when we didn't have the internet, and when we finally did, it was AOL dial-up that took forever and a day to actually get going. And then of course, anytime your uncle or your sister's boyfriend or brother's girlfriend called, it kicked you off of the internet. So you always had to find something else to do. Putting into this point of their observation skills of astronomical bodies, celestial bodies. The alignment of these cardinal points and specific stars such as the constellation Orion was achieved through careful planning and observation. The construction of the pyramids required meticulous planning and organization. So let's dive a little bit deeper into the methods and workforce management used. As an Egyptologist would suggest, the construction involved a hierarchical workforce with skilled artisans, laborers, and managers overseeing the project. This essentially means that they were using slaves. And historically looking back, the Egyptians did get a lot of their labor from slaves. Some of it was forced slavery. The majority of it was forced slavery, but we can also speculate that some of it was volunteer as well. I mean, if you didn't have the greatest of lives and somebody was offering to give you medical assistance, they were offering to give you food and beer while you work, hey, why not jump on board? Evidence of detailed planning such as the division of labor, resource management, and logistical coordination highlights the sophistication of the ancient Egyptian society. These workers are said to not be slaves, but rather a labor force that included skilled craftsmen and seasonal workers who took pride in their contributions. I don't know that I really buy that, because we know that there was slave work used for this. The oldest historical document that we have being, the Bible itself, showing that they had slaves at the time. Can't really argue with that, especially considering that a lot of archaeological features today have been found through the study of biblical text, just happening to be exactly where the Bible says that these sites and these positions were. So we can't discredit that as an historical way of looking at things. So let's move on from that and examine some of the advanced tools and techniques that were employed during the construction of the pyramids themselves. From an archaeological perspective, one could say that these recent discoveries have unveiled sophisticated tools, such as copper saws, drills, and polishing stones, used by the ancient Egyptians. They also employed innovative methods like using water-filled trenches to level the foundation and employing pulley systems to lift the heavy stones to put them into place. These techniques demonstrate their ingenuity and mastery of engineering principles. It's important to consider the culture and historical context of the pyramids. They were not standalone structures, but part of a broader tradition of monumental architecture in ancient Egypt. From an historical perspective, the pyramids were built as tombs for pharaohs and were deeply connected to Egyptian religious beliefs and practices. Now, yes, many will say that these were built as tombs for the pharaohs of the time. Now, these pyramids were built between the 3rd and 6th dynasty of the Old Kingdom, between the years of 2650 and 2150 BC. A lot of people will say, a lot of historians nowadays will say that these were never tombs because bodies were never found. And I think a lot of this could be contributed to the idea that there were grave robbers. And many of years from 2650 to 2150 BC up into the modern day, where they started digging into these and finding all of the modern information, there's a lot of time in between there where people could have taken and robbed these sites, these tombs as well, even up to the point of burning the entire tombs. Many tombs have been seen as being completely burned so that it would melt all of the gold in the area and diminish anything else that wasn't of a type of gold metal around. So it made it a lot easier for them to pull the gold out of it instead of it being in multiple artifacts. It could be in little sloughs and sledges that they may have put in the area. And there's not just the Great Pyramids of Giza. Over 118 pyramids have been found in the area, even including down to Sudan. 80 of these were built during the kingdom of Kush by Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure. Now, looking at one of the other ancient alien theories, that they had power inside of the Great Pyramid itself, i.e., being the Baghdad battery. Well, there is a major flaw with them having used the Baghdad battery during the construction of the pyramids, and that is because the Baghdad batteries are from what is modern day Iraq during the Parthian and Sasanian Empire, and that is between 150 and 650 AD. So there is a 25 to 2100 year difference between when they were built versus when the oldest Baghdad battery was dated to have been around. So they obviously were not using the Baghdad batteries at the time. So we get in from there, what did they use the Baghdad battery possibly for that they obviously did not? And that would be the light bulbs, which is a misinterpretation of hieroglyphics. We've all seen the picture of the light bulb inside some of these, and what that's misconstrued as is part of the creation myth, the creation lore of ancient Egypt. What that actually is a snake emerging from a flower. And if you look, you can even see at the base of it, it has petals. You can see the flower petals. And it is obviously not a filament, because let's zoom in here and take a look at what they call a filament that you can obviously see as a snake with a hinged jaw and eyes. So now we know this isn't a filament. Now we know this isn't a light bulb at all, but part of the creation lore of the ancient Egyptians. They symbolize the pharaoh's divine right to rule and their journey to the afterlife. The design and construction of the pyramids evolved over centuries, reflecting the Egyptians' architectural innovations and spiritual significance. Despite the compelling evidence of human achievement, why does the ancient alien theory persist? So the allure of ancient alien theories lies in its mystery and the idea of uncovering hidden truths. It's a captivating narrative that plays on our fascination with the unknown. However, it's essential to rely on credible evidence and scientific consensus. There's no substantiated evidence supporting the involvement of extraterrestrial beings in the construction of the pyramids, meaning that we have all of the evidence there that shows us these were man-made. Imagine having such a massive workforce at the time and less regulation. Without the regulation that we have today that would stop people from being able to do certain things, or OSHA coming in and saying, oh, you can't do that, you can't do that, that's against regulation, people were willing to or forced to take risks, mostly unnecessary risks, to make this construction actually happen. So, in conclusion, these pyramids of Giza are a remarkable testament to the ingenuity, skill, and dedication of the ancient Egyptian civilization. They were built by humans using available technology and methods driven by cultural, religious, and political motivations. The legacy of the pyramids lies not in extraterrestrial intervention, but in the extraordinary achievements of human history. Thank you for joining me. I absolutely appreciate this. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and stay tuned for more in-depth explorations into ancient archaeology, megalithic sites, anything of that nature that we can look at from a modern perspective, thinking back on an historical perspective, and try to bring some clarity to what could have happened, what did happen, or all of the myths that we have found fascinating. Let's find out if these myths are fact. Continue to join me on the next episode.